After working closely with over 40 agency owners in the last 2.5 years, I've built up a pretty good sense for what does help them and really what doesn't. In this video, I'm going to share the 7 lessons I would say above all else have helped agency owners build the agency they want without burning out and escape the day-to-day chaos. So whether you're stuck at $500,000 in revenue with a small team, or you've gone beyond that mark and you've built out a bigger team, this one's for you. It's going to help you get unstuck and hopefully learn a few things that I suspect will get you back on the right track. The lessons I'm sharing here today are not tied to any particular type of agency. It doesn't matter if you're designing websites or running paid media or working with a client to retain their customers via email marketing. Fundamentally, this is about how you operate your agency and the strategies you can use to grow it to the shape and size you wish. So listen to these lessons, learn from the mistakes and the patterns that I've seen time and time again over the last few years, and then apply what makes the most sense for you to help you see the success next year with the agency that you're trying to build. Let's jump straight into the lessons then with lesson 1, which is that in more cases than not, the owner at some point becomes a bottleneck to growth. And that is a very harsh reality for a lot of people who have poured their heart and soul into building this agency to a certain point over the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years. At some point, there's a realization, either through their own will or through being told by others in the business, that what they're currently doing is not helping. If anything, it's hindering the agency's progress. It's not easy to hear, but it's resolvable, and it's usually the first step to getting the agency on the right track. More importantly, getting it on a track that means it's not reliant on the owner across everything. So for example, if there's issues with client delivery, especially whenever an agency owner is involved in it, it can quite often be the case that they're just being a bottleneck because they've got so many other things to do as well. How do you prioritize between a HR/people matter and a client matter? Which one do you handle first? Is it more important to make sure your team are okay, or is it more important to make sure your clients are okay? It's very difficult to prioritize there, and in reality, they shouldn't even be in that situation in the first place. So there are a lot of scenarios like that that can creep into an owner's week that make running the business, let alone try to grow it, very, very difficult. At some point, they're going to have to get support to help them do the day-to-day basics exceptionally well. And without that, they're going to continue to be a bottleneck and revenue will continue to stagnate. Okay, lesson 2, and it relates very closely to the first point, is that getting the right people into the agency is key. But before you even get them in, you have to understand who is for you and who is the right type of person for your agency. Yes, there's lots of generic points about who you're looking for or the type of person that's going to be good for you, particularly as a small agency. But beyond all that and beyond the skills, you need to have clarity for yourself in terms of the type of person that is going to help you, that's going to gel with you, that's going to help you as a human build the business that you're trying to create. Now, a simple framework here can be to look at things like the skills that are required to help you do a certain thing in the business, the fit, so the principles or the values that this person holds close that might also overlap with the values and principles of your agency, and then their ambition, like why do they want to work with you? Do they want to work with any agency, or is it specifically your agency? And if so, why? Or what is it about the opportunity that you've opened up that they're really interested in? Understanding these 3 things can help you find the person that could potentially be a great fit. And a really important point here, just because you find a great person doesn't mean in practice, in reality, once they're in the business, they actually are right for you. So finding the right person, as key as it is just a piece to hiring. The second piece there is finding out what they're actually like when they're in your business. That's as important as using a system or steps around recruitment. So once they're in the door, making sure they're fitting in right, making sure they're doing the things in the way that they're expected to, and making sure they're actually adding value to, or simply doing the basics to an exceptionally high standard, the way you'd expect. Without hiring the right people, it's going to be very, very challenging for any agency owner to see the growth that they want. Of course, if you aren't really interested in building out a team, it's okay. You can maybe just work with some contractors or freelancers to help you do what you need. But for the person that's looking to go to 1, 2, 3 million and beyond, you're going to want to have great people around you to help you achieve that. So it's important to understand what you need, what you're looking for, and definitely what you want to avoid. Lesson 3 is that some of the best agencies I've ever seen measure and track their inputs and their time relentlessly. They understand exactly what's happening in their business. This is not a micromanagement thing. This is a practical, I understand how we're functioning as a business. There are pieces to an agency that should and will function like a very well-oiled machine. And then there are people in an agency that should have the space and time to be creative, to think, to strategize. When you put those two together, you've got this company, this organization, which is very capable of serving clients to an exceptionally high standard. But regardless across the board, it's having the visibility of what is going on that helps owners make really good decisions about people, processes, clients, and even commercial growth or anything pertaining to the size or shape of the agency. Without knowing what's happening, without having some layer of visibility about the truth of what is going on, the owner is often guessing about what to do. Should I hire someone? Do we have too many clients? Do we have the right clients? Are we doing work quick enough? Is the quality of the work good enough? These are questions you really do not want to be guessing the answer to. So the baseline on this front, understand where your time is going, understand the key things that are happening, particularly recurring tasks within the business. It's going to give you a really clear picture about how things are going, not just for a few people, but for the whole agency. Lesson 4 is that the agencies who attempt to be something to someone, as opposed to everything to everyone, thrive. This is one of the more commonly talked about things in the last couple of years from my perspective when it comes to agencies. I suspect it's a consequence of the fact that a lot of digital agencies and digital businesses were set up during COVID, and we have this series of events which has led us to the point where agencies have matured the 3, 4, 5 year mark recently, and a lot of them are asking the question, what next? We've got this certain size, we're either struggling, we're stagnating, or we're doing well, but it feels like we're slowing down on the growth side. And a lot of them have set up a business that does something for a lot of people, or it does everything for people. And in both of those cases, it's too broad, it's too unclear. It becomes very difficult for that agency to establish themselves as an expert at something for someone, which is really what we want. So what I'm not recommending here is that you just overnight decide to niche down and reposition your agency. It's something to consider. It's something that takes a bit of time to figure out. But fundamentally, I would hedge my bets and say that most small agencies that I've worked with have established inadvertently a group of people that they can serve really well compared to the rest, and something they're doing for those people that helps them tremendously well compared to just doing bits and bobs here and there for them. So for example, maybe there's an element to your service, maybe there's part of your service that you find yourself doing more often than not for clients that helps them see more success in comparison to some of the other things you're currently offering. Could that be your out and out core fundamental service? Are you adding additional services just because you feel compelled to do so? These are all things to consider, but fundamentally it comes back to trying to position yourself to being much clearer in terms of the thing you can do really well for a select group of people. It's better for you in terms of your growth, your sales, your marketing, and it's easier for those people you're trying to work with to understand that you're definitely the right person for them, as opposed to having a looming question mark over your head. Are you the right person for them? Lesson 5 really comes from seeing the benefits of actually working then with the right clients. Not only is it easier and simpler to retain the right clients, it's possible to and way more likely to grow and nurture those accounts over time. So if the previous point was about trying to be something for someone, then this point is about the benefits of achieving that. The agencies that are healthier, more profitable, and run more efficiently that I've seen tend to have a higher percentage of their revenue coming from the right places, the right clients, the right types of businesses, the right people. The agencies that are struggling, that maybe aren't as profitable, where the owner has more headaches or the account managers are very stressed or delivery is even more challenging, generally it stems from working with people that they probably shouldn't be working with in the first place, or people they've been working with for longer that are on different pricing models or even different delivery models. So all of this comes back to the question of who are you for and are you working with enough of the right people? If you're not, I think running your agency is undoubtedly just going to be a tougher challenge than it needs to be or should be for your own sanity beyond anything else, but also for the benefit of those businesses. Just because your agency isn't the right fit for them, there probably will be another agency that can cater to them more specifically, and that's perfectly fine. Lesson 6 then comes down to systems, and as I would like to think about it, fewer, more useful systems is better than a whole ream of SOPs for small agencies. So something I see a lot is one of two things. An agency that has no processes and systems, that frankly is a mess. And then two, we have an agency that's built out heaps of SOPs that are unused and is still a mess. In either of those cases, the owner is missing the key point. The key point here is that we need to create a system that you can lean on to do core things within your business. Core thing being how you deliver the vast majority of your work, for example, how you onboard your clients, how you manage the team internally. We can create a few key systems to help the owner run a really smooth operation until you get to the stage where you've got dozens of people, or maybe you're working with way more clients. There's a lot of the SOPs or processes or systems you'll read about or see that aren't unimportant, but they just aren't pressing right now. So the agencies I work with, who again, typically are doing maybe less than 1.5 million a year in revenue, maybe have less than 10, 15 people usually, it's much more practical for those agencies to take the view that, hey, we don't need to build out everything at once. We just need to find out where we're spending the majority of our time when it comes to work or when it comes to things we're doing on a recurring basis, and creating simple, useful systems around those things. The easiest way to start doing this is to process map. Map out what you currently do, compare that against what you think should be happening or you want to happen, and spot the gaps. For example, let's say how you deliver work for the majority of your clients differs depending on who is doing the work. We probably just want to map out a system that everybody can follow so that regardless of the client and regardless of the person doing it, key things happen in the same way at the same time. In lesson 7, to wrap all of this up, the agencies that I've worked with that do the best comparatively to ours are the ones that know what they want. They're not trying to build an agency, or they're not trying to build a business that is based on something they've seen online. They understand what's important to them as owners, as people. They understand what they want in 3, 4, 5 years' time, not what someone else wants. So for example, you're going to get agency owners that want to build a business to sell it. That's great. I love the ambition. You're going to also have agency owners that want to build more of a business that they can run on the side as they spend more time doing other things in their life. Both are very, very feasible. Both are very, very achievable. But truthfully, the path to achieving each of those things is going to look quite different. Yes, there are similarities. Yes, we ultimately want to build a healthy, profitable agency, but maybe the shape and size that one of those options takes compared to the other will look quite different. Maybe the things or the pace at which the owner moves at and the things they do has to be a bit different. So deciding what's for you, what you want, will massively inform the things you end up doing, and as such, what you spend your time on, and it will have a huge implication for how things play out year on year. Without that clarity for yourself, you're kind of just guessing. You're just trying to grow something for the sake of it. And I don't think that's tremendously healthy or sustainable for you as an owner or for people in the agency overall. So there you have it. 7 lessons that I have learned from the last 2.5 years of helping over 40 agency owners. And the main thing here is that these are all based on patterns or mistakes or challenges I've seen over and over again. By seeing these patterns, it enables me to almost preempt what's ahead of certain agencies who are at a certain stage. So depending on how things are going for you and what stage you're at, you might take 1 or 2 of the lessons from today and apply them directly to your business today. Another 3 or 4 of them might be more applicable in a year from now. The broad point here is that a lot of agency owners I speak with feel that their challenges are unique. And I suppose I'm here to tell you that they aren't. Regardless of whether you're specializing in something like SEO or email marketing, the challenges you'll face as an agency owner are very similar to the challenges that plenty of people have already overcome. So I'm here to help guide you through those and help you get ahead of them before you encounter them. The sooner we can spot the patterns, the sooner we can address things before they become a real challenge or a real problem. Now, if you want to apply these lessons to your agency or you want some support doing so, you can book a call with me. There's a link in the description. I'll help you diagnose what's actually broken from what just feels like it's broken, and help you put things in a sequence of events that will make sense so you can prioritize working on the right things first and maybe park a few things to a little bit down the line to when your agency is a little bit larger or of a different shape and size.